Now, so you mentioned earlier about some conferences that you have gone to. So those that are interested, they are novices. They don't know much about the industry. This is one of the reasons why they're watching today. And thank you, everyone that's joining us. Remember to share the broadcast. If you have any questions, place your comments questions down in the comments and down in the chat. And I'll get this over to Y. So again, today we're with Y Livingston of Wise Hemp and Wystone Teas. So if someone is interested in getting into this industry, and what are some of the conferences that they should be traveling to around the country? You know, we're a big proponent of making sure that our members actually go and meet people in person. So what are some of the conferences that they should be attending?
What might I suggest is, and I'll give you the answer, but I also think that I should provide you a list of conferences and dates you can share with your members. The big show is in December in Vegas. It's the biggest show of the year. JIC, the marijuana show there. There's all sorts of hemp shows. There's a hemp symposium here in Colorado. It actually starts today. It starts tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. There's one in North Carolina that starts November 1st. So there's so many of them. I think it would be in our best interest to kind of look at a calendar. Let me pick out some specific ones that I think in various parts of the country that I think your listeners, your members would find useful.
And do you travel to these conferences every month? And what's been your benefit of traveling to them?
I don't travel every month. It depends on if I'm speaking or not. I'm actually speaking at the Kansas City conference November 21st. So I'll certainly send that to you. The benefit for me is I want to know, I want to learn. And there are scientific tracks. There are legal and regulatory tracks. There are product and development tracks. And so I have to keep myself up on what is happening in the marketplace. You stay out of this industry for 2 or 3 months, you come back and you won't believe how much it has changed. So because it's moving so rapidly, I have to find myself out there and meeting with my clients and also just participating in the industry. I also am really trying to, along with some of my colleagues in this industry, it's becoming more and more challenging to go to conferences with speakers where you don't see any person of color that's on the dais. That's really important because if you don't, again, there's an alienation factor. There's a factor of we don't belong. There are professional people of color in this industry. So these major conferences that are making millions and millions of dollars who don't have people of color as a speaker in any of their tracks, that's a problem for me. And those won't be the kind of conferences that I'll be recommending to our members.
Well, listen, but this is what I'm a big proponent of. And I say this all the time. We all saw over the weekend, Tyler Perry, he opened up his own studio. And I'm a big proponent of us building our own tables. Yeah. We know the history of America. We don't have to. We keep asking them to include us. They don't want to include us. We might as well tell the truth. So we must always build our own. And we must always educate our own people. This is why we have this platform. This is why we have the United States Black Chambers. We're here to advocate and to stand up on the behalf of Black people around the country, those that are in business and things that affect Black business. So I'm a big proponent of us building our own tables, just like Tyler Perry said. So how can we build our own table in this industry to ensure that we're representing ourselves, that we're employing ourselves? As I mentioned before, we employ a lot of African Americans around the country. We being Black businesses. So what can we do to start our own conferences where we educate our own individuals and really do what we can to spread the word ourselves?
That's a great question. And I think we look no further than, Larry Holman in Beaufort. Beaufort, South Carolina is progressive enough, as small as it is, with all of its history, to put on a summit where cannabis and hemp is one of the major discussion topics. That's powerful. So if Larry Holman can do it, and He's got a great model for how he put it together. This should be replicated around the country. That's number one. It doesn't have to be huge, but it has to be meaningful and powerful. That's number one. Secondly, these conferences, particularly some of the major ones, they are really, really enormous, and they are very, very expensive. And quite honestly, we are not there yet, but we need to find some strategic partners out there. Whether we are talking about people that are in the hotel and hospitality industry, people that are in the pharmaceutical business, people that are in a variety in the restaurant businesses, major people of color that are that are leaders in their particular area, that come together, that understand what this new industry is about and how they can participate. And you might say, well, why would they? Well, let's talk about the hotel business. Bed and breakfasts are springing up everywhere. And you're like, what the heck is a bed and breakfast? It's a place, it's like an Airbnb, and they allow you to partake.
Oh, so you didn't say bed and breakfast, you said bed and breakfast.
Bed and breakfast.
Okay, I missed that at first. Okay, good.
Tourism is huge. Here we have companies like 420 Tours and some of the high-end transportation. Let me talk about high-end transportation. They are an African-American veteran business started by 4 friends who have a very high-end transportation business. I'm talking Teslas, Benzes, and what do? They pick you up, they'll take you on a tour, they'll get you to the right bed and breakfast, they'll take you to a concert. And here's our people that have pooled their resources and their knowledge, and they've got a great business. So people don't know about them. So there's an opportunity for us to really combine our forces and put on a reasonably sized conference that has meaningful speakers. And I might add, let's make sure that when you get a speaker, you pay for them. That's the other thing.
Right.
You go to a lot of these conferences, and I've been asked to speak at conferences, and people are like, well, you just come and you'll get the benefit of the exposure. I had enough exposure. I would like some exposure in my bank account. So, make sure that you put a budget.
Expose me to some Benjamins.
Expose me to some Benjamins, right?
Absolutely.
You should put that on a T-shirt. But anyway, that is kind of the state of the business right now. So there are ample ways for us to do it, but there's a strategy that has to be deployed to make it meaningful.
So no, this is good. So you and Larry Holman, again, is our chamber president down in South Carolina, Beaufort, South Carolina. And have you had any talks about doing another event anytime in the future?
Yeah. We haven't set on a date yet, but that is clearly, it was such a success. It will happen again. And most notably, Larry also carries the CBD products in, he has like it's a cross between an art gallery, museum, and retail. And he's embraced carrying this product in the stores. And we're about to private label products just for Larry in his area.